Check, check, check. Check, check, check. Check, check, test. Check, test. Check, test.
Check,
Check,
test.
check.
Do I hear
check.
myself?
Check, test. Check, check, test. Check, test.
Check, test.
Check, test.
There we go. Check,
Check,
test.
check,
Do I hear
check.
myself?
Oh, got
Check,
the big
test.
echo.
Check,
Echo,
check, test.
echo,
Check,
echo,
test.
echo,
Check,
echo, echo,
test.
go,
Check,
go,
test.
go, 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 go. Okay, enough fun for the day. All right, we're getting back. We got 4 minutes. We're going to start. We're waiting for Anthony to let me in into the meeting room. And I hear Imperium. Oh, here's something I want to announce to you. So let's go and look at this Village Meetings webpage. Okay. Might as well just check for that. Okay, August 19th. Today is 16, 17, 18, 19. So Thursday at 5 p.m. is a meeting of the planning board. That's probably going to be the review of Imperium 3. My understanding is from reading the seeker documents that this is basically it's an expedited review. It's a speedy review. I don't know what that means exactly. So I'm going to try to get some additional detail for you, and maybe do a show beforehand. I'm going to reach out to some of the members of the planning board and try to find out, get copies of the materials that they've been given, that kind of thing, and just see what's up. Because one thing is, according to the law, we got to get a countywide 239 review. So I'm just curious if the 239 review has been ordered yet. That's one interesting question, and I'm going to open up a notepad so I can take some notes to myself so I remember all these points, because I'm probably going to try to make some public comments today. Every week it seems like, and I was like crashed last 2 weeks ago. I was like crashed out on my couch, okay, and I heard the meeting. I was kind of half listening to the meeting, but it's like I just couldn't get over to my computer fast enough. They closed both times. They closed the public hearings faster than I could really get over there. So I was a little bit unprepared. I'm going to try to be prepared and stay present for this meeting today. So what was the first thing is Imperium 3 and 239. Okay, one is the 239 review. What else do we got going on? The other is, oops. Okay. Sorry, I'm getting my filter thing wasn't in place. Looks like the stream is we got about 1 minute to start. Expedited planning board, site plan review, what's that about? And we want to get an EIS and public hearings because of the CP, Commissioner Policy 29 for environmental which is very arbitrary. The CP29, Environmental Justice Community. Basically, it's special concerns if you have a lot of people of color living there. So it's first thing is the question is begged. Is that because benzene toxicity is a function of skin color or skin pigment, which it isn't. But the other thing is okay. So let's say you're trying to throw a bone to disenfranchise, people of lower on the socioeconomic status, poor people who don't have a lot of political power, not a lot of political clout. Let's say you try to throw them a bone. Is it substantial? And it turns out that it's not. they're filing something called an enhanced participation plan, but it's really BS. There's really nothing of substance to it at all. There's not going to be a public hearing, and there's not going to be an environmental impact statement. Those are the two main ways of public participation. Join without video. So once again, we get the Endicott special. I just told a friend of mine on the phone. I'm not going to say who it was, but I just told a friend of mine.
Recording in progress.
We're getting the Endicott special with Bob Joseph is on. Good for Bob. We're getting it's like the Endicott special with some, like a nice fine wood veneer. It's just kind of a joke. Alrighty, gonna just set up my screen like I like it. La 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 la. Let's do a hide self view. Hide self view. Chris Potter. Oh, he's pressing sun, isn't he? Alright, who we got on? Rita Foran, Pat, Jessica Haas, Land Bank, Christine Ellison. Hi, Christine. Chris Potter, Carol Layton, Bob McCurtich, our village attorney. Anthony Bates is the host. Local 1290. Hi, Bob. That's Bob Joseph of WNBF. Glad to hear you on, Bob. And that's Nick waving. Nick can't hear me. You can't hear me, Nick, can you? Nobody can hear me. I'm just killing.
Oh, yeah. Janice and I fixed that today.
Okay, bye-bye. I'm gonna turn my mic off, and we're just gonna watch these people. And I'll come back if something interesting happens, or if they take a break, executive session, something like that.
All right, would everybody like to stand for the pledge, please? The flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Silence, please. Okay, thank you. Oh, and before we start, I'll tell you what I found out so far. Chris Pelto called me about that steam. I also called Huron. Mm-hmm. And our Candace Chapman is going to talk to Huron and get the whole answer. But the gist of it is, at the power plant, there's a boiler number 2 that they're working on. And they have to leave the valve open while they're working on it. I asked them, can't you shut it off at night? It's keeping people awake. And they said, no, we can't. What happens is they're not using much of the building. Right. And all the steam has to have some place to go. And so they're trying to readjust it so that it won't be making so much noise. But I just wanted to let everybody know. And Candace will be putting it out on the website as soon as she gets all the exact information from Huron. And that way it'll be correct and it'll be...
They shifted it next direction?
Oh, yeah, I think it did go up to the...
Yeah, you are a sitting duck there.
Yeah, and it's just high pressure steam, okay. So everybody will know. But after everything that's happened, everybody gets kind of worried. And so Candace is going to get from the actual workers exactly what's going on, and then she will be putting information that's correct on our website. So that way everybody will know. Okay. Now, my mayor's announcements are kind of long because I've been pretty busy. There's been so much going on. Now that it's getting to be fall and COVID is kind of scaled down, we have all kinds of meetings. So I went to a Chamber of Commerce breakfast, and the focus was on the problems we have in the state of New York in bringing in and retaining businesses. The high taxes and over-regulations are, as well as good employees, are hard to find. We also need to streamline a pipeline to show kids that colleges is not the only career path for making good money. Between January and July of 2020, over 200,000 people have left New York, and most of these were wealthy and paying taxes. Now, Florida has a larger population than New York does. Career fairs to include trades and having speakers go to the schools could be a start. Another important aspect, community involvement. Events to bring people together, get them talking, and so forth. Working together is the only way to fix many of these problems. They said that in Allentown, Pennsylvania, the steel companies all shut down, and the Boy Scouts started involving everybody in the community, and that's what started. The Boy Scouts took the credit for getting Allentown back on its feet, and their economy is doing quite well compared to other Pennsylvania towns that were steel towns that didn't have an economic or an environment with people working together. I had a conversation with Broome County Clerk Joe Mahilko about implementing his plan to have local businesses advertise on the screens that are at the DMV. As you know, this DMV is one of only 2 that are open on Saturday in the state of New York. So we get a lot of people on Saturday. Mr. Mahilko is now investigating legality perimeters, advertising costs, and so forth. I do have a volunteer who happens to be here, who is coordinating with this project with Mr. Mahilko now. It may take a while to implement because of the legalities. We are not paying for any advertising. We are not doing any advertising. It's strictly through Broome County. And it was Joe Mahilko's idea. It wasn't mine. Eileen and I went to talk to a staff member of Congresswoman Tenney. We told him some of the items we need grants for. He assured us he would do some research to see what is available. Time will tell. Eileen wants her garbage trucks. Washington Avenue project is progressing. We had a draft of a flyer to send out to all residents to let them know what we're doing. Delta will expand upon this and add a schedule. Our street designs are ready, and we're now working on the parking lots and alleys. The plan is to present these ideas to the residents in September. Most people have expressed that security and safety is their #1 concern. I've been talking to Congresswoman Lepardo regarding security cameras for the avenue. We will be meeting with representatives to see what is available. We also need security cameras for the parking lots and the alleyway. Donations from our larger businesses for these. We've been working very hard to find donations so we do not have to use any village money for these big items. Sheriff Harder came for a visit. I signed a mutual aid agreement with Shenango Police to join our SWAT team. That adds 4 more officers to our SWAT team. Yes, we still have brown water. I contacted the state comptroller to ask what this is all about, asking water rates affecting our credit rating and our grant process. We have been losing out on grants because we're not doing our part in having our water rates comparable to Johnson City and Vestal. Our auditor called me back. He suggested we take the report that Mr. Latini did, explain how we plan to proceed. Other municipalities charge a fee on every bill towards capital improvement. We have neglected our water system for way too long. I know some are against raising rates for improvements, but it's the only way it's going to get done. I've attended water board meetings for about 8 years now. The new chairman is very organized, and we're working on a plan. There's a water board meeting later this week, so I'm going to see what they may suggest. Anthony and I were talking. If we do raise the rates, we need to specify what we plan to do with it. We can apply it to our $15 million filter we need. Fund Engineering is researching and applying for grants, but we still have to pay for a share of it. And we have the new well to finance. These are projects that have been researched to help alleviate much of the brown water. We were finally able to take down the 2 dead trees at the library. This had been in the works since May. It's sad to see them so lifeless, but as we were told, everything does die eventually. I want to thank the Code Department, Street Department, and both tree companies for helping us preserve safety, as well as the library for paying for this work to be done. Water had damaged the one tree so bad that the whole middle of the trunk was rotted right out. A large branch fell during that bad windstorm and damaged the new library roof. This was a huge liability, and if those branches had fallen on unsuspecting people who patronize the village, somebody could have been seriously hurt or killed. Safety of our citizens is our priority and my responsibility as mayor. Now, our tree committee has decided to move our Arbor Day event to the library. The DEC would not allow us to plant trees in the flood zone area at Mercer Park anyway. We can now plant new trees to replace the dead Norway maple and the oak that were taken down at the library. This event will be on October 9th from 1 to 3. Eileen can talk more about the event and who's coming. The homecoming parade will be on October 9th on Washington Avenue from 10 to 12. So with the homecoming parade from 10 to 12, then hopefully people will come over to the library at 1 for our Arbor Day event. I attended a light commission meeting. There's a data collection company discussing coming to the village, but we don't have the address yet. Our light supervisor, Chad, believes it's a Bitcoin business. This has to do with computers and uses a lot of electricity. Now, in the past, Chad had to turn these requests from municipal electric down because it would raise the cost to all customers, and there's a charge to us for raising the energy that we need from where we get it from. But with the new regulations, the light department can now charge these high-use companies 3 times what the residents pay. The village will make money. And the thought was brought up as to why we cannot offer municipal electric to more of the village residents now in NYSEG. The reason is that these properties belong to NYSEG and they will not give up their customers. I had a Zoom meeting with Jason Garner. This new Delta strain is more severe, easier to transmit, and spreads quickly. We went from 10 cases a day to 30 now. About 50% of Broome County is vaccinated. 90% of the people who die from COVID are not vaccinated. Jason is requesting everyone get vaccinated or at least wear a mask and social distance. A good philosophy is mask up or lock down, but he will not make any mandate for any restrictions or forced vaccinations at this time. School kids under 12 cannot get the vaccine until the FDA approves it, hopefully by October. The county is prepared to go to students' houses for testing if needed. We are not sure what help we can expect from the state with the new situation and the new governor. Jason will not issue a state of emergency unless our daily numbers go over 100 and we need contact tracing, test kits, and so forth, and we need help to pay for them. Now, we are allowed to ask people who enter our building if they have been vaccinated because we are not healthcare professionals. However, we can't ask our employees because of the legalities related to that situation. I went to a demonstration at Synostics with some of the students working with Dr. McLeod on a high-speed transportation system. The frame reminded us of a monorail. The cars or pods will carry 1 to 8 people for a fast journey like New York City at 250 miles an hour. These students are amazed, and as Jeff Smith said, we're trying to get our students as involved with things as we can. Tom Latini and many members of the Endicott Rotary have made a fantastic offer to help the village. They will be clearing out all the weeds on Washington Avenue. If they have time, they're going to do the parking lots. They're hoping that this will inspire others to get involved. We desperately need school crossing guards. Betty's not coming back, the one who got hit. If anyone knows of anyone interested, please contact Kurt and Human Services. I contacted the DOT about changing the flashing yellow light at the crossing in front of the high school to a red flashing light, but they said they can't do that. They would have to put an overhead stoplight in. Tony suggested we consider moving the crossing to the corner of Lincoln Avenue and Main, near the Union Endicott Administration Building. I sent that to Pamela Riddleberger, and she's going to talk to Nicole about that. I don't know what they're going to decide. That's going to be their decision. I've been trying to get Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul to come for a visit to St. Anthony, and I met her in Binghamton last year. Now that she's going to be governor, she's planning on coming to visit many municipalities, and her Deputy Director of Operations is going to let me know if and when she can come. The reason is we need as many people in high places to know about Endicott and maybe help us with grants. Besides, Kathy told us she never comes to town without a check, and I like that. The loss of some companies recently has produced an additional economic hardship for the village. We were about to lose another to Binghamton when this company was turned down to move to the closed Coachman Parlor City truck place on Cornell. And as I understand it, there's already a home-based reconditioning place on Cornell anyway. So I talked to the owner, Tim Wright, and he's come up with another place in the village. I'm very glad. I also want to thank Tim for helping us with the overspray problem the village had involving some cars near the water tower. We hope this new place works out for him so we can enjoy a long relationship with this business. Now, because our lifeguards are college students and returning to school, the pool will have to close soon. The last day will be August 29th. The Broome County Arts Council received some of the Greater Binghamton Grant Fund for money for Binghamton, Johnson City, and Endicott. The first mural will be in Binghamton. The artist is Damien, who did the mural on the Cinema Saver and then in the next few weeks, the mural will be started in Endicott. Damien's staying at my house in case anybody wants to know why I was involved with that. And I just met him. He has the most beautiful Australian accent. They need places for the artists to stay while they're in town because we're trying to keep all their expenses down. Now, I enjoy informing our residents of all the accomplishments being made in the village, and I feel our residents have a right to know what's going on. I did start posting a State of the Village report on the village website. Then I went to posting on Facebook page daily because I had so much to share. So many projects demanding the attention of my secretary and myself. I find it hard to report as I wanted to, so I will be taking my announcements and anything else relevant and sending it to my speechwriter to go back once again to having the State of the Village posted on the Village website. So from now on, please go to the Village of Endicott website for any information on what's going on in Endicott. And I'll close with saying that Trustee and Konechny's announcements for events will also be included. And now would you like to tell us what's going on in the village?
Yeah, we're getting up to game time here with the Apple Fest. But the first event is the Arch. We were glad to have a $500 donation from the Rotary. We do have the lights all set and ready to go to the tune of $130, which may be our only expense, unless we can get Sertoma to give us the money. Other than that, we're doing really well. The Apple Fest is on the 18th. BAE has graciously given us a $500 sponsor as well. Linda and I did go to meet Claudia Tenney's interns in the town of Maine, and we did talk with them about our concerns, mainly about the infrastructure and the broken water mains down at the creek that they spoke about the last meeting, and how there was no communication between Army Corps and the state. We did talk about the water main breaks and just the infrastructure in and of itself. I also did put a pitch in there to get a new claw truck for our street department. I haven't heard back from them yet. I don't know if you have.
I haven't yet.
The Arbor Day event on October 9th will be at the library. We are going to be planting 2 identical trees that were recently torn down in that location. So hopefully in 100 years from now, they will look just as grand as the last ones that were there. Like you said, it is in conjunction with the homecoming. Mm-hmm. So we do have a couple kids events, cone making and whatnot, but rather slow or subdued, shall I say. Sorry, Terry. But we do have Nino and Mark are going to be playing for us. We continue to meet on that. And that's it.
Okay, thanks. Pat, what would you like to contribute?
Yeah, I was going to start with the noise over it here on campus. I got some over the weekend. Copy of an email that people in the neighborhood cannot sleep, and it's being worked on fine. But I think I did call the code enforcement officer today, and the chief Grizzle called back and said that he explained what's going on. But I think that should be expedited, because if they sleep on the job or delay it longer than necessary, we need to do something to keep our neighbors happy. Number 2, I too called Congresswoman Tenney's office about after our discussions last meeting about the water problems, infrastructure, dirty water. She was actually having a meeting today up in Marathon with the same problems. Mm-hmm. So Ed Hickey answered the phone. He said he was going to contact the Washington office and have her or somebody get back ASAP. So hopefully we can get, some federal funding. We'll see what we can do there.
Sometimes the squeaky wheel gets the grease, right?
Mm-hmm.
You hear it enough?
That can be squeaky
mm-hmm.
on occasion. Number 3, this is just a question to the mayor. At our Sertoma meeting Thursday, the principal of UE showed me a letter that she was asked to respond to from the village regarding Burberry, and I just was wondering, why we didn't see that letter, and what's the protocol, why they were told they needed to write a letter and respond by last Friday. So I just was wondering what that's all about.
Actually, I didn't know anything about that. That wasn't from my office. I don't know. I'm assuming it's from Coach. Bob, do you know what the legalities is?
From Janice?
They wrote to a lot of places, too. They wrote to Joe. And I don't know who else they wrote to.
So that was likely part of the tobacco licensing process, which
Thank you.
requires, the village manager to get,
That came from you?
recommendations.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Janice sent it out for me.
Right, I was just wondering,
Mhm.
Chief of police, fire chief.
wondering why that happened. And that's all I got.
Okay, thank you. All right, Ted, what would you like to talk about?
Yeah, under, unfinished business, we have the meeting procedures, the updated meeting procedures, and I wanted to move them to right now. If I make a motion, are you okay with voting on them right now?
Are these new ones? Are these newer ones, or are these the ones you just?
They're the same as last week, the ones you held over.
Okay, well, you can go ahead and do that. Go ahead.
So, I'll make a motion to pass these, new updated meeting rules, for the village to follow during our meetings.
Okay, motion and second, the roll call, trustee Connectney?
No.
Trustee Dorner? Trustee Warner?
What's your vote?
No.
My vote is yes.
Trustee Burlingame?
Yes.
I'm not gonna vote, no. No, because meetings are only twice a month. Most of my work is done to run the village, so I don't.
Are you voting, Linda, or?
No, I'm not gonna bother voting. No.
So then I had a couple questions, Linda, on some of the topics you hit on. Well, actually, you didn't hit on these, but I wondered if you could give us an update. The Friday coffee with the mayor, what's the latest on that?
I'm not doing that right now because I've had private meetings. People don't want to meet out in public, they want private meetings. So I've been having them come to my office.
And then people called me, apparently they saw comments or an announcement by you on Facebook that a Starbucks was moving to the avenue.
That's what Zach Pedley has told me when I was down on the avenue. They told me they're coming. I think it's exciting. I hope it really happens.
So as a mayor, you think putting rumors out there that are unsubstantiated is a...
I don't think anybody has, I think everybody has a right to know what's being talked about. I think it's fine.
So you're putting rumors out as
Agenda fee?
unsubstantiated rumors out on with your name as mayor on it?
Next.
You think that's okay to do?
I don't think it's a problem.
What do you think, Eileen?
I think you do it all the time.
That's true.
Or an example?
All of your Facebook stuff that it's accusing me of things,
That's lies.
you do it all the time.
These aren't official announcements.
Check yourself.
Neither's mine. Mine's just.
Check yourself, Ted.
About the trees being cut down?
About everything. All of your Facebook stuff, the mayor and the deputy mayor. Linda and I don't have any power to make any changes.
On the trees that you brought up,
And we're talking about what you did.
cutting the trees that you brought up, who issued the order to cut the trees down?
I did. Seth asked me, Seth wrote to me, he said, I've got some dangerous trees. The code is going to condemn them. He said, do you care what I do? And I said, no. He said, if I pay for them, can I have them taken down? I said, are they dangerous? He said, Mayor, they're going to kill somebody. And I thought, oh my God, if they're going to kill somebody, yes. And I wrote to Bob then, and Bob said, well, is it really is it an emergency? Do we have to do it right now? So I wrote to you guys in May to you about it. Now, it's over and done with, and I'm tired of talking about it. I've already explained it, and I'm not going through it again.
So
We're wasting board time for this. Please tell us what else you want to talk about.
I had a lot of calls on this.
Oh, that's good.
You wrote a letter to the library to tear the trees down in May, and
I told them okay in May, yes.
and they tore them down August 4.
Yes, do you know why?
So
Because the tree companies were backed up. And that way, actually, it's partially because I talked to Terry Farrell and I asked him to get a second opinion, somebody with an arborist, because Terry asked me to have an arborist. So I asked the library, and he did get a second company, and he told me that there was a tree professional and that he did have it taken care of. So I did everything that I was requested to do.
So only 3 weeks before that May email where you ordered them to be cut down, we passed a resolution that said all trees on these properties around here had to go to the board for approval unless there's an emergency.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you make an order in May and you don't cut them down until August 4, that's not considered an emergency.
They were going to do it right then. I had no way to know they were going to wait. As a matter of fact, I didn't even contact them. After May, I was done with it. I didn't pay a bit of attention.
Who declared them an emergency?
Actually, the code and street department, when they went up to check on the roof, they saw how bad they were. They were rotted. And actually, Rob was in to tell me because he was over there when they were cutting them down. The whole center was totally rotted. Now, I am responsible to take care of the safety of the village. In May, we're still under state of emergency. I can make that decision without you. I can understand asking you guys to vote. If I wanted to tear down one of these beautiful trees to build a gazebo, for heaven's sakes, of course I should come to you.
I will
That would be totally ridiculous.
I will send you and all the board pictures tonight.
Good. You do that, and I'll send you some from Seth.
May I finish?
Can you go on?
May I finish? I will send everybody pictures tonight of those logs laying in the street.
Mm-hmm.
The ends of all the logs. Not one part is rotted.
Well, then don't tell me because I didn't say they were rotted.
You just said they were dead and rotted.
I said I was told they were dead and rotted. I told you who said it. Now, can we go on? This is
and I've also
a
got,
dead issue.
and I've also got pictures of the stumps after they were cut down, and there's not one rotted part in those stumps either.
Well, then I don't know what to tell you, but there was a branch that went through the roof of the library, so you can go up on the roof and see where the branch fell off and went through. Had that hit somebody and killed them, the village would be responsible because we own that property. We are responsible for those trees. I am responsible for the safety and welfare of the village. That comes first. I am sorry that you didn't get to have your say. Now, can you go on to another subject? I'm sure you have more to complain about.
So then, after tearing down all the trees on South Street, and then tearing down the
there's still trees on South Street. I went down, I was surprised.
We have a rule of not interrupting.
Yes, but so did you. And you have interrupted me, so keep going.
I didn't interrupt you today. This is my time. Tearing down all the trees on South Street in October. Then you placed the order to tear down the 2 George Johnson trees in May. Since May, after you issued that order and didn't tell anybody about that, did you meet with the tree committee since May and about trying to save trees?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You didn't anybody that already ordered them to be cut down?
I knew. Terry knew.
We're already down.
Terry and I are working with the code committee. She's right on there.
She's shaking her head no.
Well, Terry, I did talk to her. She's the one who told me I had to go.
Terry's on here shaking her head. No, you didn't tell her that.
Well,
I would make a recommendation, if I can interrupt for a second. We're getting this hearsay of people telling you this stuff is rotted. I'd like to see a document from this arborist or whoever this expert is, instead of, going out on a whim and, they want the tree down, or the library wants the tree down to protect the roof, fine, but, we're saying, oh, this one said this one said, we can't run a government with just people on the phone. There's got to be a written set of documentation, and this is going on since I've been a trustee. And an example, like last week or last meeting, we asked for a letter that the mayor said came from the governor's office. We've asked for that letter. Nothing comes of it. It's just like it's out in the breeze someplace. So, got to start doing business the right way without people just taking it upon themselves to make decisions when this is a government, not somebody's backyard.
well, I'm administration, and there's times when I have to make decisions, whether I want to or not. It's my job,
Well,
and I will do it. Now, can we just go on with the rest of the meeting? We're wasting people's time.
With only the exception that we passed a policy 3 weeks prior that any of these trees, because I gave the warning that people had told me you were going to do this. That's
Yeah, but how come you didn't tell me? Because I didn't know until Seth asked me. And he had to pay money for that.
Not interrupting.
He had to pay
We
money.
have a rule of not interrupting.
Well, then let's.
So I made the warning that everyone was telling me that you were going to take these trees down. So we passed the resolution. We actually named the specific properties, including the parks, Marshall Park, George W. Johnson Park, that no trees could be cut down unless there's a safety hazard emergency, unless the board votes for a majority vote to tear them down. And did you just ignore that?
No, I took safety into consideration.
You ignored the resolution.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Because I had to worry about safety. That is my job.
So are you going to continue to ignore that resolution?
I'm not going to ignore anything. I am going to do whatever it takes as mayor.
You ignored it, but you're not going to ignore anything.
What I'm saying is I'm not planning on ignoring anything. I'm
You
going
could
to
ignore this one.
Do you want me to answer yes or no?
We did ignore this one.
Do you want me to answer?
Go ahead.
Okay. I do not intend to ignore anything. I never did. This was a case of safety. I will do whatever it takes as mayor to protect the residents of the village. If somebody, let's say somebody with a little kid walked in there and that stupid branch fell and killed him, how do you think I'd feel knowing I could have stopped it? How do you think I have to live with that? You don't. I would have to live with that because I'm the one responsible. And I will take my job seriously.
My understanding is the reason to tear them down was some branches had fallen on the rubber roof of the library.
That was after this happened. After we got it approved and we were waiting for the branch fell, there was other branches that fell, but the one that went through the new roof was after. That was July 7th, I believe.
At the last meeting, we agreed that we would have Rob from the street department here for executive session.
Yes.
What's the status on that?
Rob, we have two other people who have also put in for that job, so I'm waiting till Anthony and I have had some interviews before we finalize this because Rob is worried about taking the test. And
why don't we talk about that?
yeah, that's something else we can talk about later. So why don't
Want to do that tonight?
If you want to. It sounds like you've got an update for the board on this.
Yeah, I could do that. Sure. Yeah, I could do that. So what else would you like to talk about, Ted?
I think I'll save the other ones for my other comment period at the end of the meeting.
Okay, Nick, what would you like to report on?
Good evening.
Good evening. Good news, I hope.
First, I'd like to remind everyone that the Gusto Italian Festival is all set for Friday, August 27th, 5 to 9 p.m., featuring live entertainment from Mike Della Penna, Mike Caruso, Nino and Mark, the Mason Warrington Orchestra featuring vocalist Ralph Muro and Judy Giblin. There will be incredible food and fireworks at 9 p.m. I hope everyone can make it. I'd like to thank the Little Italy Endicott for organizing this outstanding event. As I mentioned at the last meeting, the Refuse Commission is about ready to bring the proposal to the village board. We're planning on keeping the 3 can per household limit instead of increasing it to 4, at least for now, because we don't know what the cost is going to be. So I think at least to play on the side of caution. And it gives residents the option of purchasing special bags if they require more than the 3 can per week. And just to clarify, residents would not need to purchase special bags unless they had more than 3 cans. So
We'll write that out, yeah.
So there's a lot more that needs to go into it. We need to figure out a bag vendor, pricing, where they could be purchased, if they need to be placed in a trash can. So there's a few things we need to work out with that. If anyone has any comments, suggestions, please let me know, let us know. Unless we can get a grant for a new self-picking garbage truck in the meantime. That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
You know, I get asked the question a lot, why we, the village board, debate so much during a public meeting rather than behind closed doors. And for those of you who don't know, the reason is there's a New York State law called the Open Meetings Law, which prohibits us from holding these conversations behind closed doors. Under the law, the public has a right to attend meetings of public bodies, listen to debate, and watch the decision-making process. So please keep that in mind when you hear the board debating back and forth. But with that being said, we have big issues, and this board needs to handle them. It's really discouraging to see us getting bogged down with this petty nonsense. This toxic atmosphere does not help the village move forward. I know it certainly doesn't help me any. But because I've had so many residents reach out to me, I feel I do need to respond to the library trees being cut down. I'd like to preface by saying there's nothing we can do to bring the trees back. All we can do is move forward and plant new trees. I do strongly object to the mayor authorizing the library to cut down the trees without following the proper protocol, policy, and procedure. Oh my God, sorry. This was not an emergent situation. If it was, they wouldn't have waited months to cut them down. This board passed resolution R25-2021 on May 3rd, 2021, putting a policy in place to prevent this from happening. Mayor Jackson, do you intend to follow proper procedure in the future?
I intend to do whatever I need to do as mayor to represent the people. As far as meeting procedures are concerned, it's only 2 meetings a month. I think I can deal with that.
Nothing to do with meeting procedures. I'm talking about any policy.
I do not intend to do anything against the law.
You know, as a child, I was taught respect is not given, it's earned. A boss depends on authority, but a leader inspires enthusiasm and earns respect. Mayor Jackson, I urge you to lead, not dictate. You have 2 more years in office. Let's make a difference for this community. Let's not get bogged down. Let's move forward for the good of the people. Looking at the agenda tonight, I noticed that we do not have Jessica Huston from the Land Bank. So I would like to make a motion to add a special presentation from the Durham County Land Bank under agenda line number 7, special presentations.
Sure.
So I had talked to Jessica too, so since we didn't have a public hearing tonight, I didn't schedule it for, I didn't put it on for special presentation. I'm just gonna call on her first for hearing.
Oh, is that what you want to do?
But that's fine. No, we can do it, special presentation.
Either way.
I just didn't want anyone to think that I forgot about them.
I just saw she was on.
So,
And
Yep.
a motion,
Motion for,
it would need a second.
Second.
roll call?
Yeah.
Trustee Connectney?
Sure.
Trustee Dorner?
Yes.
Trustee Warner?
Yes.
Trustee Burlingame?
Yes. Now, really quick, just looking ahead, I don't want to, you want to reschedule the 9/6/2021 meeting?
Yes, sir, I would like to.
That doesn't affect, does that affect the, what other meetings we have, the 20th?
Well, what I would like to ask you guys, would you like to make the next one on the 13th so we don't have so much time between? It's up to you. I mean, we can take a vote, whatever you want to do. That was just a suggestion.
On the what date?
I was going to ask if you'd like to change the September 20th date to the 13th so we don't have so many weeks in between.
Let's do September 6th first.
That's a holiday.
Well, what he had just said was that's Labor Day.
We know that.
Yes, and so we.
I think we should, last time we did this in July, we called a meeting off, and, the following meeting, we were here for 4.5 hours. So my suggestion is that we take that September 6th meeting, move it to September 9, that Thursday of that week.
That's the day of my arch. I can't be here.
Yeah,
What?
we'll be at the
The arch,
Have what?
the arch event.
What time is it?
So,
6.
all right, if that's the case, we certainly want to be at the Arch event. So
Thank you.
if we did skip that meeting, the 20th, is that good, or we decided the 20th isn't good?
I don't mind the 20th. I'm just saying, would you rather move it up a week and have it on the 13th since we're not meeting on the 6th? I'm just asking.
No,
You guys can do whatever you please.
Move the 20th to the 13th?
Or keep the 20th and not do anything till, whatever.
20th is, the plan would be to have that public hearing on the 20th, so, if we moved it to the 13th, would that work?
I don't know.
I don't know either, but.
I don't know if we'll be ready.
And then you have,
So maybe the first thing is we should figure out, do we want to have 2 meetings in September or not?
Well, my initial thought is yes, but
Okay.
if we can't do it, I don't think we should have 2 meetings 2 weeks in a row. So with that being said,
Right.
if we can't,
Right.
the arch ceremony, Labor Day,
Right.
I'd be okay with.
If we did on the 13th and 27th, then, there'd be a week between them then.
But then the October one is the following.
Yeah.
I may be away on the
woo-hoo.
20th. Board meeting. What the heck?
I think we just leave it as it is and let the chips fall where they may.
Okay, so we should,
I mean, there's just a lot going on in September and October that
Yeah, there is.
I'm not
Leave
opposed.
the 20th on the 20th?
Yeah, I think so.
How does that work for the public hearing?
It should still be on.
We could do it. We could do it on the 20th.
Mhm.
That's what the board wants to do.
Mhm.
well, I guess the only one in question is Labor Day. Everything else is at
Right.
normal.
Correct.
Right, unless we wanted to change the date.
Right.
Does anyone want to change the date? If we cancel the Labor Day meeting, is everyone okay with the 20th or?
Yeah, I think wait until the 20th is fine.
20th, yeah.
Yep, I'm good with that.
Stick with the 20th.
Are you gonna be there on the 20th?
Oh, I forgot. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh.
He said he couldn't come, so can we make it a different date?
I'm probably coming home that day if I do go. Still up in the air.
So,
Well, what's the,
Do you want to move it to the
now,
21st?
can I ask a question? Can I ask a question? Why can't everybody be ready on the 13th for Huron, or for Altura? Aren't we just talking about the zoning, and we can vote on that anyway, can't we?
Well,
I don't know, I'm just asking.
Yeah, so the outstanding issues for the Altura project are the water line issues, water supply, and the road use.
Mm-hmm.
And we're waiting for the engineers to do their work on both of those issues.
Oh, okay.
And they have not finalized that, so I'm hoping by the September 20th they will. I'm a little hesitant to move them up a week,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
because I'm a little concerned they may not even get it done.
Okay, what
You wanna
about,
make it in October then? The public hearing in October? I don't wanna hold this up. I'm not trying to hold it up. I'm just trying to be, I'm trying to be
what about
accommodating
if
to everybody.
what about if the 20th is difficult for Pat? I don't have a problem with the 21st. Will you be back in town safely by then? Oh, you can't, yeah.
Oh, I'd be home by then.
could you do any day that week? If you can, it's fine.
22nd or 23rd?
Well,
Is that what you're saying?
23rd there's a zoning board meeting. Although, as of right now, I don't think anything's on the agenda, but something could come in.
That's at the same time, isn't it? 6,
Yeah, that's at 5.
5?
Back by the 20th.
You will be?
We have a meeting on October
Wanna keep it
4th.
on the 20th?
Is that waiting too long? I mean, I'm just asking.
Yeah, the 20th will work for me.
Nope, 20th is good.
Okay, he's gonna work on the 20th.
20th?
Travel day, but I'll be home by 6.
You're okay with 20?
Well, if everyone's okay with 20, let's cancel the Labor Day.
Yay! It's a national holiday.
Because we're
Wanna do
gonna
that
be
now?
here.
Yes, I'm gonna be here anyway.
Yeah.
We're gonna be here, so.
Motion to cancel the September
6.
6th meeting.
Second.
Okay, motion and second, roll call, trustee Connectney?
Yes.
Trustee Dorner?
Yes.
Trustee Warner?
Yes.
Trustee Burlingame?
Yes.
And we're gonna shoot for Altura public hearing for that date, the 20th.
Yeah, there hasn't been a motion for that yet, but, I think that's the idea when that comes up at some point tonight.
Well,
We need to make that motion tonight?
Yes.
well, in that case,
Why don't you make it right now, Nick?
I'll make a motion to reschedule the public hearing on the PUD rezoning for the Altura project for September 20th at 6 p.m.
Second.
Okay, motion and second, roll call, trustee Connectney?
Yes.
Trustee Dorner?
Yes.
Trustee Warner?
Yes.
Trustee Burlingame?
Yes.
So we're not having the public hearing tonight on that issue. That's rescheduled to the 20th of September.
Right.
Okay.
And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Bob, what would you like to report tonight?
The only thing I wanted to follow up on was the sign law, which I've drafted the edits to that. I've sent it over to Brian Botsford to get input from the code department, and I'm waiting for his response back. I thought I would have that for tonight. I did not get a response back on time, but that's all I've got.
Okay,
Is that for a specific property or?
That's to allow the digital signs.
Digital.
Commercial.
problem with EPAC is what brought that to light.
That's correct.
That's how we will. All right, Anthony, what would you like to talk about tonight?
Just real quick, at Washington Ave Committee meeting a few weeks ago. We're going to be going to the public very soon on that to get public input on some of the designs. Met with Department of State on some projects working on. Lake Commission meeting. Met with the negotiation team, moving those union or the contract negotiations along. So hopefully we can come to an agreement. Interesting, we had our renewal sale. Bonds that we go for, we've been renewing them the last couple of years. That closed Wednesday or Thursday last week. I forget the day, but since we've been here, it was a net interest rate of 0.225% for 1 year, for a 1 year note on 4.9 million of debt service. So pretty interesting. I've never seen it that low. And obviously, you know, what's going on with the interest rates in the market. So, and also working on part of that. So that's our 1 year note. We're also going to do a shorter term note, which has the like Hayes Ave project and some other water projects we're working on right now. And also, you know, we're getting a list together for some street department vehicles that we talked about during the budget process. So it'll be our next issue. That'll be a shorter term note. They'll both mature at the same time next year. And we'll actually look at going long term because the rates are so low on those issues.
Yeah.
So, working on the fire department roof replacement project. Met with the engineering firm last week. They were here to take another look at it, and they're finalizing the design drawings for that soon. So we should get that out the bid in the next few weeks, hopefully. Tacoma Field, they made the field improvements last week. Yeah, it looks great.
Mm-hmm.
And the day after that, the improvements were done. The fencing company was there, so they're squeezing us in between a couple jobs. And the new dugouts that were built on Sertoma, they're kind of, you know, wrapping the fences along those and cutting a hole in the fence to access the field from the new dugouts. So they're working on that. That looks pretty nice. Had the discussion with the state comptroller on some finance issues, just topics we talked about, water rates, things like that. And lastly, I just wanted to say thank you to Tristan Huff, and the volunteers and scout troop that built the Davis Field dugouts. I didn't get a chance to get up there today and see them, but I did see pictures online, and that they look really nice, and they did a great job with them. So I just wanted to say thank you to Tristan and the group that volunteered to build the dugouts at Davis Field. So, and that's it.
Thank you. Okay, so now we can go to our special presentation with Jessica.
Hi, everyone. How are you this evening?
Hi.
So I first want to thank everyone at the Village Trust partnering with the land option of 108 Rose as you published into your for attending. Your allocation of $8,000 has allowed the land bank to expand our program. Actually, we're able to complete an additional 3 demolitions toward the end of this year, which far exceeds our deliverables under this current grant. So I'd like to, on behalf of the land bank, I'd like to thank the village for your partnership on that. I've had several conversations with Mayor Jackson about the land bank's approach to property disposition. Typically, the first thing that we do is we gauge interest from nearby and adjacent neighbors to each demolition property, vacant lot that we have. We try to gauge interest from those individuals and those property owners to see if they'd like to expand a lot and purchase a lot across the street on a case-by-case basis. In my memo to the village board and the mayor, we sent side lot letters to the owners of 115 McKinley Avenue, 106, 107, 109, and 111 Roosevelt Avenue. We have not received any interest to date from those letters. Additionally, the land bank did follow up on an email received from a nearby neighbor who was interested in creating a community garden, and that neighbor has not responded to the land bank to date. In addition to what's in the memo to you folks, the land bank has had several conversations with Dinosaur Dental to see if they would like to purchase this lot. I know that they are interested. One of the things that we're trying to work out is the taxes that would be due on the property each year. I know that there's a little bit of a hesitation about that, but I know we are working through it. So we would hope in an ideal world, land bank is able to dispose of this property to an interested buyer, whoever that may be. One of the things that I've discussed with Mayor Jackson is when that's not feasible or that's not possible, we typically will approach the municipality, the respective municipality, to see if they are able to acquire the property, take title of the property, so the land bank can then move forward and continue our programs elsewhere in the county. And so the land bank is coming to the Village of Endicott and asking if you folks would be willing to take title of 108 Roosevelt Avenue in the future, so the land bank can continue our programs elsewhere. One of the primary reasons why we're asking for this is because the land bank right now has limited funding, and our current community revitalization initiative grant is expiring in December. Once that grant expires, we don't have expendable funds for insurance, property maintenance expenses on a lot of our vacant lots, majority of our vacant lots. So I want to just close with, in regards to that request, I want to just close that the land bank is always appreciative of any support that we receive from municipalities, especially the Village of Endicott, and the support that you've given us in more ways than just one. You folks helped out with an allocation, you folks helped out with no parking signs. I had several conversations with the fire marshal about the status of the property. He was incredibly helpful in regards to that. So we genuinely appreciate any kind of consideration you would give to this request, and we'll continue to work to try to secure a buyer. But with the expiration of our grant coming up, very soon here, we'd like to ask for your consideration to take title if the land bank is not able to secure a buyer in the near future.
Thank you, Jessica. Do you want us to take a vote on that now to see if in the future we will take title?
If that's something that the board wants to do, that's fine. I don't know your specific protocol in regards to that. I don't know if you have to pass a resolution or if anything needs to be done.
Can we wait to hear about what Dinosaur Dental does? Because I'm kind of hoping that's going to go through and we won't have to make a decision.
Correct. Yes. That's perfectly fine. I would just say that typically our closing process typically takes about 60 to 90 days. So if you folks were to consider this request, and Dinosaur Dental is interested in purchasing the property directly from the land bank, then I feel that we could definitely go that route and not go transferring the property to the village and then the village transferring it to Dinosaur Dental. But having something in place would certainly be helpful in that regard.
Okay, well, we can talk about it. Thank you so much.
Are you allowed to ask questions during a presentation?
You can ask a question, can't you?
Typically, there's a public comment period for that.
She will be here to answer.
Oh, you want questions of her?
Yeah, from Jessica. He wants a question.
It's up to the board if you want to allow that or not. It's not in our procedures.
Would anybody mind if he asked Jessica a question since she's online already?
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, George.
Thank you. I just wanted to know what is the cost of the land bank for the property?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
I was wondering what the cost of the property is presently, not including the taxes, but what are you selling the land for?
Okay, so we would negotiate a sale price with any proposed or interested. We've sold vacant lots for $200. We've sold vacant lots for $15,000. So I would say, in regards to where we are at right now, the interested buyer, we have to work through the taxes, and that sale price has not been negotiated yet. And I'm not.
In other words, the sale price would be dependent on back taxes that are owed for not having any taxes paid at the time?
So there actually is no back taxes on the property as of right now. Once the property was foreclosed on by Broome County, the Town of Union and the Village of Endicott were made whole on the back taxes in 2018 when it was foreclosed on. So there's no taxes owed on the property. Right now it's being held as wholly exempt. Once it is put back on the tax rolls by a third party who purchases the property, whether it's from the land bank, whether it's from a village, whoever, it will be put back into a taxable parcel. And those taxes, depending on the assessment, could be anywhere from $600 to $1,300.
Thank you.
You're
I just want to make one comment on this. So when a municipality purchases real property, it has to have a municipal purpose for that property. So it wouldn't be appropriate to purchase property with the intent of flipping it for another sale, essentially making a profit off it. That's not a proper municipal purpose. Municipal purpose can range. It doesn't have to be, that you're going to put a building on it. It could just be for open space, but that would be the grounds to authorize it, not to then turn around and resell it.
And really our goal.
That's what we would like. Well, as Jessica has said, Dinosaur Dental is negotiating with them right now. And if they buy it, then we're out of it, and he'll be paying the taxes on
This
it.
is Vines, you said?
Yeah, Dinosaur Dental, because you see, it's right up the street from them, and they have visiting dentists, and they need parking spaces. And once Imperium starts ramping up, they're going to be taking away the parking spaces that Dinosaur Dental is borrowing right now. So I'm hoping to talk them into buying it, and so is Jessica. We're working on it. Because that way we wouldn't have anything to do with it, and they would buy it.
Would Vines be interested in another spot?
I don't think they can afford to pay for it.
So
Somebody has to pay the taxes on that.
They're nonprofit.
let me just discuss really quick about Vines. That was actually before we even demolished the property, I reached out to Amelia at Vines, and we tried to find a way that this could potentially work, because it's an area that could certainly use a community garden by Vines. And one of the biggest issues that we faced there is the trees along the highway are very mature trees. They're very tall, they're very big, and the crops were receiving the amount of sunlight that they would need to grow. So it was a lot that Vines was not interested in, of that concern.
Too bad.
Thank you, Jessica.
Anybody ever else have any questions for Jessica?
If I could make just one.
Well,
yeah,
thank you so much.
Sorry. If I could just make
Yeah, go ahead.
one last comment. So we're certainly going to, continue our conversations with Dinosaur Dental. I will keep the trustees in the loop on what happens, and the mayor in the loop on what happens in regards to that. One of the things that I will ask, because you folks were partners with us, if that interested party doesn't want to purchase the property for whatever reason it is, I would certainly, everyone at the land bank, including myself, would certainly appreciate any leads or any kind of interest that the trustees and the mayor can gauge from another interested party for this property, because like I had mentioned, at the expiration of our grant, we will not be able to maintain it. We will not be able to insure it at that point.
Okay, thank you so much, Jessica. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we come to our first hearing of visitors. This is a time for people to make comments on anything they would like to talk about with the village. It's not a time to debate with the village board, but you can come and tell us what you think. For those of you in the audience, if you'll come to the podium and write down your name and address, we would appreciate that. So is there anyone who would like to come and speak right now? You're not going to say anything, huh? Oh, wait. I think I heard yes, George. Go right ahead.
Okay, I'm not gonna go over everything that's been discussed about the trees, but I do wanna talk about principle. Is that the village board, I think, is losing sight of the fact that they're not self-employed. They're employed by over 12,000 people, population of Endicott. And considering the fact that rules and regulations, laws, resolutions, whatever you wanna call them, are passed, they're documented, put into the books. And they should be followed because that is the will of the people, considering it was voted upon legally as a function of the board. Considering the fact that there was 90 days before the trees were actually knocked down from the time that the discussion has happened, part of the resolution was that every single department head in the Village of Endicott that is also employed by the 12,000 plus were negligent in not sharing all communication amongst everyone here. No news to anyone, so that the people could voice themselves either by phone call, mail, personal visits to come to the village to say, where's the wood going? They were not both oak trees. One of them was a large maple. The other one was an oak tree. They have history. They have age. There are movements and laws in the entire United States to protect all aged historical trees. There was no movement to even try. There was no allowance for the people to speak, to say, I'm a master carpenter. I could make some special signs for every single business on Washington Avenue from this wood. I sent images to the board members here of what it looked like, what Washington Avenue would look like from signs made from those trees. Instead, it has enriched two companies. CNY took the trees, trunks, and all that wood, and it's now on their woodlot, the oak and the maple. And the branches that were cut off went to a place called Blue Hill, Harrison Hill Nursery and Mulch. They're being enriched by the mulch that they're going to sell from those trees that were owned by the village, in turn owned by the people. Do you know how many artisans there are here and carpenters there are in this village? A lot. I'm one. No opportunity to play with that wood to make historical signs throughout the village at the new gateways that we're going to make, because they were ours and they should have stayed in the village and enriched the village. We have 5 sawmills in Broome County. One of them is portable. They would have come right here the day that we were cutting down and sliced into the lumber 2 inches, 3 inches thick, thinking about if there was 90 days of discussion, what could we do with that wood? Because we're doing a beautification project. We wouldn't have to pay for the lumber. And they're going to get a lot of money for the oak and a lot of money for the maple. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, George. That was very interesting. Thank you. Now, is there anyone else in this room? All right, how about...
To speak, go to Actions tab and click the Raise Your Hand feature. Or if you're only, if you with Bill, can you unmute there? All right. We'll see if we can come back.
Thank you. 511 Exchange Avenue. I'm not going to go into great detail either. I just want to say that it is truly a sad day in Endicott when a passed ordinance means nothing. My trust is broken. If a law doesn't mean anything, then what good is anything? So I understood that the trees are gone. The loss has been done. I suggest that you set up a problem statement. You figure out where the disconnect occurred. We know where it occurred, but make sure it doesn't happen again. This is an absolute tragedy. And with all the history of Endicott and all of the bad things that have happened, it's really a shame that something so good was just taken away from us, a good memory. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we'll go to Terry Farrell.
Hi, Anthony. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm Terry Farrell. I live at 404 Hazel Avenue in Endicott, and I first want to thank Christy and Ellison for what you just said, and for somebody who saved a tree, I mean, you can get very sentimental for anybody who cares about trees, and that's my background. I went to school for environmental science and forestry, and when 35 healthy Bradford pear trees were cut down on South Street, we knew this was an opportunity to raise awareness and educate our communities on the importance of tree vitality and sustainable tree management. So I reached out to a former colleague of mine, Lori Bracco-Bank. I have discussed her many times on these meetings. She is a free resource. She is an arborist. She is a professional urban forester. She will be very willing to give us any advice that we need about trees. I just want to say a couple things about why trees are so important. I mean, they make our town a special place to live. They shade our homes, our businesses, and our streets. They clean our air and water. They reduce storm water runoff. They increase our property values. They reduce energy costs, and they make our neighborhoods greener, safer, and healthier. So with that, I had reached out to Heather Staley when I knew there was an opportunity here to make a difference and, you know, really get together, because there seems to be a disconnect among our department heads. Heather Staley had tried to bring the union. She thought it was a good idea. I researched it. I sent proposals out. Unfortunately, at the time of February, the village board could not make a decision to become one. There are many benefits about becoming a Tree City USA. I will let everyone on this call do your due diligence and research it. Many of our board members here at the village have researched it. We did become one in the town of Union. We met the 4 requirements. We formed a tree committee. We proved that we were spending $2 per capita on tree maintenance. We had an Arbor Day event, and we formed a tree ordinance. So the good news is so through the New York State Forest, the Forest Council, you can apply for a $1,000 grant that will help you have an Arbor Day event, which is one of the requirements. A grant proposal was given to the village. We have been meeting as far as hosting an Arbor Day event here. We would like to, we're proposing to the village to not only accept the grant money, which will help to plant trees. We also would like to have the event at the George F. Johnson Library. But I really feel that this is an opportunity to work with our department heads. I have letters here from the fire marshal and from the street department that these trees were dead, that these trees were not safe. I can't find an arborist report anywhere. So again, we need to move forward, like Nick Burlingame said. We need to work together. We need to do the 3 C's: collaborate, communicate, cooperate, because two beautiful historical trees that George F. Johnson have been taken down, that he planted himself. And I don't believe they were dead. They were sprouting new branches of leaves. Christine Ellison provided the proof that these trees were not dead.
Terry, you've reached 3 minutes. Could you kind of wrap it up, though? I mean, I don't want to
I just want to say one last thing. I feel in order to guarantee these checks and balances, we should require a site review plan and a permit for any residential or commercial tree work within the village right away. The property owner should be required to submit documentation with pictures from a certified arborist or a professional urban forester. Fines should be implemented for residents and businesses who do not follow proper policy and procedures, and money should be used for maintenance and more tree work. We should also hold those accountable for disregard of the village law. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry.
Terry, thank you.
Next, we have Carol Layton.
Thank you, Anthony. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm Carol Layton. I live at 123 Wilson Avenue in Enwell in the town of Union. Thank you, the mayor and Pat, for clearing up the noise that we hear that is very annoying coming out of the old IBM building that has been vacant for years. I'm sure that was the $64,000 question of everybody who lives in Endicott or Enwell. Thank you very much for clearing that up. I would just like to say I have attended the tree committee meetings, and nothing was ever brought up or discussed about these trees at the library that were scheduled to be torn down and destroyed. Never brought up. The only thing that was discussed at the tree committee meetings was just the Arbor Day event that we're planning on having, and all of the activities that we need to organize for that event. And I just think it's a shame that there is a tree committee that we're forming in Endicott, and also a tree resolution that was written prior to the trees to be torn down. Everything that we're trying to do has been ignored. I just feel like, what's the purpose in having a tree committee? What is the purpose in having a tree resolution if these things are going to be ignored? I see no sense in it. It's really a shame. I feel that the tree resolution that was written should have some provisions in that law to provide for any violation that is done regarding trees in the village. This cannot be ignored. It's a terrible shame. How can you replace 100-year-old trees that have been growing on the library of Georgetown? You can plant new trees, but they are not going to be a replacement for these historic trees. And I just think that it's horrible what has been done, and in disregard for the historic benefit of trees that George Johnson planted. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Carol.
And next, we have Heather Staley.
Hi, can you hear me? I just wanted to ask the board to please accept the grant money from the New York State Urban Forestry Council. I did the paperwork for the town of Union. They send a $500 check up front in order for you to host your Arbor Day celebration. And then once you submit proof that you did hold the celebration, they send you the remaining $500 check. I was recently able to submit the paperwork for the town of Union to become a Tree City USA, and because of that, we're going to be able to get additional funding from the DEC to replace the trees that we lost over at Glendale Park during the last storm. So I really hope that the board will cooperate and help us make the Village of Endicott Arbor Day celebration possible. I was told by the mayor that the board was requesting that we have insurance for the event on October 9th. Of course, I'm an insurance agent, so I took care of that last week. We do have insurance in place for that event on October 9th, so that's not a concern. We're also still looking for an arborist to join our tree committee, and we welcome volunteers to help us at the event and become members of the tree committee. So that's just what I wanted to say tonight. But thank you for hearing me, and we look forward to continuing to work with the village as the tree committee, and hopefully the department heads will know that we exist, and if they do have questions or concerns about trees in the future, they'll know to contact us ahead of time. Thanks.
Thank you. Next we'll try, Bill again. You there? Bill?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, thank you, Anthony, and board members and the mayor. Bill Huston here. So I've been looking into the I-3 permit stuff and Imperium 3. I should say Imperium 3 because we used to have a different I-3, right? So Imperium 3. So we didn't quite get the Endicott special. We got an enhanced Endicott special with like this veneer, this thin veneer on top of it. So we got a type 1 EIS. That's a good thing. We got sign environmental justice, community protections, whatever that is. We're getting an enhanced public participation plan. Ooh, goody, enhanced. That sounds good, right? Well, what are we actually getting? Well, we're still not getting an environmental impact statement, and there's not any plans for one public hearing. And I'm not talking about a dog and pony show conducted by the applicant. People seem to think that's a public hearing. That is not a public hearing. A public hearing is where the DEC comes in with a stenographer, and it's a legal proceeding, and all the testimony is put on the record. We're still not getting an EIS. So I just think, considering the history of all that's gone on here, that we should, a project this big, we should get an environment. I mean, I've looked at the numbers. Yeah, it all looks pretty good. It looks like it's not going to be very polluting, but we need to look at this very carefully, okay? And I would really love it if I could call somebody, and I think, Nick, if you're still on the planning board, I really want to figure out what's going on with this planning board. Have we ordered a 239 review? I heard something about an expedited site plan review. I don't like the sound of that, expedited. So I want to connect with the planning board. So maybe I can call you tomorrow, Nick, or maybe Ted. I don't know who is the better person. Everybody's talking about trees. I just want to remind people that it's been 4 years, maybe 5 years. I think it was 4 years since we lost 80 trees on the avenue. Okay, prior administration, but I'm not hearing anybody talking about replacing the 80 trees. We want to talk about a tree slaughter. That this is it makes the record. So I hope that we can talk about replacing the trees on the avenue, please. Bitcoin mining, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure Bitcoin mining stays out of the village, taking advantage of municipal electric. That's a bad idea. Lastly, I want to get on the record because everybody's playing along with this COVID insanity. And what I'm telling you is there's no disease called COVID. There's no virus called SARS-CoV-2. There's no test for the hypothetical fictitious virus. All of these numbers are fake. They're made up. And somebody has to push back on this stuff. And on track and tracing, that's violations of our Fourth Amendment right of privacy. I have a very large packet, a legal packet with court documents and all kinds of official papers all about COVID. And I'm going to try to send it to every board member here, and if anybody in the entity wants a copy of what I'm going to send to the board members, just to put them on the record that we have to stop this COVID insanity. Masks, forced vaccines. I'm very grateful to the mayor for writing to me and saying we're not going to do this forced vaccines in the village. So I appreciate that very much, Mayor. That's all I wanted to say. We got to stop this COVID insanity. It's all a big made-up thing.
No, one comment. You need to keep your comments to village business. And I appreciate your interest in that issue, but this time is for village business issues.
I don't see anyone else.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak on Zoom? Please raise your hand now. Anyone?
Okay.
Okay, we will close the hearing of visitors for now, and we will move on to, number 10, approval of minutes. Would you like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from 7:19 and 8:2.
Yeah, why don't we do them one at a time?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from 7:19.
Second down.
Motion and second, roll call. Trustee Connectney?
Yes.
Trustee Dorner?
Yes.
Trustee Warner?
Yes.
Trustee Burlingame?
And I make a motion to approve the minutes from 8:2.
Second down.
Motion and second. Roll call. Trustee Connectney?
Yes.
Trustee Dorner?
Yes.
Yes.
Trustee Warner? Trustee Burlingame?
Yes.
We have no bids, so we close communication for filing. E.
Communications for filing A through E.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion and second, roll call. Trustee Connectney?
Yes.
Trustee Dorner?
Yes.
Trustee Warner?
Yes.
Trustee Burlingame?
Yes.
Okay, communications for action.
So this first one, I'll go over quick, is our
Thank you.
consulting agreement. And this is strictly for the collection of premium for our retirees. So right now we had Lifetime Benefit Solutions that has done it for us for years. They did change their pricing on this, so we had looked around. This was kind of during the budget time, April, May. And Haler, Fryer, and Kuhn, which we do some business with, and they actually handle our over 65 retirees, which we changed plans on that this year from Excellus to Humana. And they offered to take over our retiree billing and premium collection at a reduced cost. So this doesn't have anything planned. This is just a collection of the premiums for the retirees. They manage them. They stay on top of, who's paid, who hasn't, and they go to collect the premiums that way. And every month they remit back to the village. So they're just like a collection kind of service for the village. And then like I said, they submit payment to us monthly. So, and that's exactly what Lifetime did as well. We just do it with a local company at a less expensive cost.
I make a motion to accept communication for Haler.
So, you're accepting the communication, or are you approving?
The whole thing. Yes, the whole thing, both.
Both.
Mm-hmm.
I would recommend, if you're going to approve this, I would recommend a motion to approve the consulting agreement.
I make a motion to Haler, Fryer, and Kuhn.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion second, the roll call. Trustee Connectney?
Yes.
Trustee Dorner?
Yes.
Trustee Warner?
Yes.
Trustee Burlingame?
Yes. I'll make a motion to accept the Union Endicott High School Homecoming Parade, 10/9/21, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., pending an evaluation from the Endicott Police Department.
I'll second it.
Motion second, roll call. Trustee Connectney?
Yes.
Trustee Dorner?
Is there,
Trustee Warner?
is there a game after that,
Trustee
Nick?
Burlingame?
You should. Good.
This is the tree committee grant that Heather was speaking about. We want permission to accept the grant for the tree committee.
I will make a motion to accept the tree committee grant
Second that.
from the fall 2021 New York State Urban Forestry Council.
Okay, the motion and second, the roll call. Trustee Connectney?
Yes.
Trustee Dorner?
Yes.
Trustee Warner?
Yes.
Trustee Burlingame?
Yes.
Now we come to paying the bills.
Who hasn't done that? Pat, your turn.
Make a motion to accept the bills.
I'll second that.
I feel honored.
Motion and second, the roll call. Trustee Connectney?
Yes.
Trustee Dorner?
Yes.
Trustee Warner?
Yes.
Trustee Burlingame?
Yes.
We don't have to worry about a resolution because we're not going to do that tonight.
Right.
Unfinished business?
Mayor,
Yes,
I just
I'm
want to make
sorry.
a comment on that local law. This is for the PUD rezoning.
Yes.
That's a work in progress, everyone
Yes.
knows, so we're waiting on information from the engineers. So it's possible that there will be a revised local law or a different version with some conditions in there to address the things that the engineers are working on. So I just wanted to give you a heads up that will be coming around prior to your vote.
Prior to the vote, okay.
I don't keep my old paperwork.
Well, keep it for now. And we'll see the changes if there are.
Thank you. All right, very good, thank you. Now we come back to the Clean Energy Grant intern that we asked for at the last meeting. I sent everybody all the information on it. What it is the first grant that Alicia worked on, the $5,000 grant, we would like to spend some of that money to hire the intern to do the work because it's just so time consuming. And then after she leaves, the NYSERDA will pay us back 90% of that. So then we will still have most of that $5,000 so we can decide what we're going to do with it. And in case you're wondering what we're going to do with our spare time, because now we'll have a little bit, there is an EMT grant that I want to work on with John Mancini from NICOM. He brought it up, and NICOM has been after us for working on a couple of projects with the fire department and the police and the EMTs, and that's what we would like to do because if we get the grant that John Mancini's talking about, that's an extra $300,000 a year. What this is the EMTs will be billing the insurance companies. This is not going to it's not going to take away anything from the town of Union. But we bill a lot to West Endicott, and they will be billing the insurance companies, and the insurance companies will be paying. Now, not all insurance companies will pay, I know, but most of them will, and it's better than what we're getting now. So that's what we want to do with our spare time. If we can have this intern. So I'd like to ask for that.
I'll make a motion.
Do we have paperwork on it?
Yes. Yeah, I emailed the paperwork right after the last meeting.
Okay.
Make a motion to accept the intern request for the Clean Energy Grant in NYSERDA.
Did you find NYSERDA grant?
In terms of the intern meeting,
yeah,
it had, as the mayor said, it was a 90% refund, I believe, on it.
Yeah. I'll second it.
Thanks.
We have a motion and second. Do roll call. Trustee Connectney?
Yes.
Trustee Dorner?
Yes.
Trustee Warner?
Yes.
Trustee Burlingame?
Yes.
Very good. We already took care of the updated meeting procedures. We already took care of canceling the Labor Day. Social media is next.
Social media, yeah, the social media policy. Do you remember when we actually passed that, Bob?
It was this spring, April, May, that time frame.
Yeah, we haven't heard anything about it or whether it changed on the social media, which is why I put it on there. And I wonder if we could get a report from maybe Anthony for the. We probably should get a report for the messages and the posts and private messages going back to maybe December 1 or something like that.
Back to December 1?
Of 2020. That'll show us what was happening before we passed it, and then we can see what happened after we passed it.
It'd be neat to see the comparison for sure.
Yeah. So I would make a motion that to ask Anthony, how long would something like that take, Anthony?
Probably a couple weeks, to get, I'll have to contact our media service and, make sure we can get everything back to that point.
A way through Facebook, actually Facebook corporate, you can get a printable PDF of for example, every messenger message in PDF format.
Facebook corporate?
Yeah,
okay. I'll ask her about it.
Yeah, I had to do it before. I probably have my notes somewhere.
Okay.
Probably.
Maybe.
So I'll put it in formal so it gets in the minutes that I would make a motion to ask Anthony to give us a report on the social media activity for posts, private posts, and messages starting at December 1, 2020 up to the current.
Does that sound feasible?
Yeah, we can,
Okay.
I'll contact our media service, I mean, because they monitor our accounts. So.
Maybe they know about that thing.
Comments, so it's not gonna be very long. It shouldn't be a problem.
It's not gonna be too bad. I'll second that.
Yeah. And I'll
Yeah, it won't be long, I can
Okay.
imagine.
Sorry, I was writing. Ted made the motion. Second. So the roll call.
Yes.
Trustee
Yes.
Kennedy, Trustee Dorner,
Yes.
Trustee Warner,
Yes.
Trustee Burlingame.
Yes.
Now we come to our second hearing of business. Is there anyone in the room who would like to talk? Ah, I knew Alberta would talk eventually if I bugged her enough. Hi, Alberta.
I just have a quick question, because I don't understand the social media policy. Apparently something was passed, and what was it? Why was that passed?
What's
it about?
we had talked, we can email it to you if you want to.
No, that's okay, just explain it.
We had, talked about it for about a year, that there was things being put on we weren't exactly happy with the social media company. They weren't monitoring it, I don't think, well enough, and, there were things being put on there that, didn't really belong there on a village website or village Facebook site. And so we updated, the policy so that it would do what we wanted it to do.
So can I respond? So
Yes, please.
it's very common for municipalities to have website policies, social media policies. So that's what that is. It's a 5-page document, so it's hard to summarize it, just here at the meeting. We could give you a copy of it, but it's intended to govern the use of all of the village websites and social media sites.
Okay, so are you, as a municipality, how can I explain this?
In other words, we now have
Did anybody speech on the site?
Well, that's one of the key requirements of the policy. It's intended to avoid that kind of behavior so that there are no First Amendment.
As a citizen, don't you have a right to post something if you
No.
feel it was?
Not on the social media, because it's only for information. The website is only for information. It's not a back and forth. If people want to talk to one of us, they have our addresses and our phone numbers. Yeah, that's all.
So were you having a problem about this or something?
I guess they were, yeah.
Well, so
I don't know.
for the posts, that question comes up a lot. So there's no requirement that the village open its social media site to post from the public. But if it does, it has to do so in a way that's consistent with the First Amendment. So it can't open the social media up to posts and then pick and choose which posts to allow to remain up there and which not to based on people's political affiliation or content of their speech. So that's the kind of thing that's...
Okay, well, it just doesn't seem to be quite clear. I think people see that and they don't understand what it is. I think there needs to be some clarity on this.
It's in writing. There is no posts allowed on the village websites. Nobody's allowed to, at least on the Village of Endicott website.
Okay, I just wonder what this was, because I was baffled by it. Second point, well, let me get 2 quick points. Point number 2 is, I'm opposed to the fueling station at on East Main Street in Burned Area. And I was thinking about it with the location, because I think the location is deplorable. On the Vestal Parkway, which is the major strip of commercial property in probably Broome County, I cannot find 4 gas stations within 7/10 of a mile on the Vestal Parkway. And that's the major strip in Broome County, commercial strip. So to have 4 gas stations within 7/10 of a mile of Main Street is, to me, unthinkable and very bad taste. I mean, people are concerned about the historic integrity of the village. My God, that's the historic district, number 1. You have historic buildings around it, you have residential areas around it, and you can put a 4th gas station within 7/10 of a mile. with benzene, the school down the street, traffic, pedestrian traffic. But you know how I feel about that. Okay, point number three, the property across from Dunkin' Donuts. I know I spoke to the mayor about this, about how it looks as you come into the village. It's disgusting, it's deplorable, just brown space. I don't know what he sprayed on that, but nothing has come back.
Right.
Whatever he sprayed on.
Right, that's that.
So it has to be something really pretty bad. And people are walking through that property, you get animals, you got kids, you got people walking around there, walking through it. And I was wondering if there's anything that can be done that, number one, that doesn't happen again, okay? And number two, is there any way you can make it look a little better as the entrance way to the village? I mean, really, people come in there and they see that sign, it's brown, burned out space.
I did talk to code because in our code, there's supposed to be landscaping around a sign. So Brian has gone over to talk to him.
Even if they planted like some small trees or something in the front, a barrier from the street to the property. I mean, just it's bad.
I was upset because they killed the grass on the median, and that's ours. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
On that too, Anthony, on that motion on the social, that's you. When you talk about social media, you talk about website and Facebook, right?
Well, social media is, I look at it as the Facebook, Instagram, that stuff, but if you want everything that's been on both. So
on the website, nobody comments on that, do they?
No, it's just
on either one.
information.
Just the Facebook,
Yeah. So I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, is there anything on the website on there? On social media, right? Or is that
the policy covers both social
right?
media and the website. But in terms of compliance of the website, I'm trying to think of where there could be, problems.
As long as the authorized users are posting it and no one else, there's no problem.
I mean, I could look into that too if you want.
Because there are authorized users who are designated to post.
Yeah, I mean.
Right. So I think a full report on the website.
As long as we're doing it, we might as well, yeah.
Okay.
Now, would that be other than like Candace? Because she posts a lot. Do you want to know everything Candace posts also? I'm just asking for you.
Yeah, I think if you get a report, it'll show everything that's been on there.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be, no matter who posted, it's whatever was put on that.
Okay.
Especially if they'll do it electronically, like Nick said.
You can do it electronically. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be
you don't
easier.
need too much more to do.
Yeah. Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I will.
Otherwise, we've got to get him a bedroom here. Now, is there anyone else who'd like to speak in the room? Yes, George.
In reference to the library and the condition of the trees over there. I went over and I inspected every single tree on the property. There are 5 very dangerously on the opposite side of the building that are very ill and dying.
Are they?
They're dying already. They're infested with termites, worms, and ants. Some of them are actually hollow in the center.
People have mentioned that. Thank you.
There's what they call, too, on one of the trees, a widow maker. There is a limb that snapped off the top right past the thorn that weighs 75 to 100 pounds, and it's resting on flimsy limbs, upside down, ready to fall.
Okay, Terry. So it's up to you. Get your people over there and take a look at that, please.
I think Linda will be on it.
I have photographs.
Hey, Terry.
George, Linda will be on that at 7 tomorrow morning, if we can tear 5 more down.
No,
I can send you the pictures, so I can even come and show you them.
Yeah, why do
I can help.
Can I talk to you after the meeting? I've got an idea. Okay. I don't.
George, that's over between here and the fire and the police department.
Yeah, over there, and when you look straight up, there's this massive top
Nice.
snap right off.
Yeah, and that's something we need to worry about.
That's good.
And then there's a couple of Ys that go like this, 3 Ys triples.
They make me.
That there's like a tree rock that a good wind is going to make it snap and fall, either on the library or on
Police
the
department.
sidewalk.
Oh.
I have a 75-foot maple that's got that croc. I just paid over $500 to get it cabled. Because
tie it together.
Yeah, because it isn't rotted yet, and if I tie it, because otherwise it's going to come down through my house and my neighbors. So yeah, you're right, that is dangerous.
The one tree that's next to the entrance on that side, the opposite side where the other trees were taken down,
Yeah.
it actually has a very moist, wet spot right in the center of the Y. So that has to be like looked at and treated, you know, so it dries up a little bit. That's what it was.
Well, now that we've got a tree committee, there's no reason that Terry can't get together and go check it out for us. I'm sure that she would not mind doing that at all. So, but like I said, I'll talk to you after. I've got an idea. Is there anybody else who would like to speak? Now, how about on Zoom? Is there anyone who would like to speak on Zoom? Oh, okay.
Terry Farrell?
Thank you again. Thank you, Mayor Farrell. Just a couple things I just really quickly wanted to touch on. I know, we've got these proposed, Burn Dairy and Imperium 3 coming into Endicott. And I think this is like a really important time for us to take a look at all of the opportunities that we have to make sure that any company coming in is not going to potentially threaten the health and safety of our residents. And I do agree with what a lot of people are saying. The location of Burn Dairy may not be the best. The acceptable exposure to toluene and benzene is 0. And we've already got, I don't know how many gas stations in that proximity that are already there. So that is a number one issue. Number two, we did change the tobacco law to allow the sale of these products within 100 feet proximity of a school. And the third thing, with them trying to, or requesting that they are able to make an illegal turn. I think it's a great idea. Absolutely. I don't think the location is the best. I also want to talk about Imperium 3. And I do agree with a lot of what Bill Huston said. I mean, actually, all it takes is one potentially serious environmental impact, and that should alert us to an environmental impact statement. With Imperium 3, we got a Seeker 1, we got a Type 1 state environmental quality review. It was deemed, I think, an unlisted action. I don't understand why we cannot get an environmental impact statement with a Type 1 seeker for any project proposed to Endicott, considering our history and how fragile we are. I think it's so important that, we work together to, I think we have to go above and beyond here. I don't think that a company coming in should not go through all of the, we should have our stakeholders weighing in. The school should weigh in on any potential projects. That's just my thought. With my background and with knowing how Endicott has, we've suffered so much. Our residents deserve, a lot more. So I'm just hoping that with any projects coming in the future, we get a Type 1 seeker for everything. That's all. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Terry.
Thank you. Next we have Carol Layton.
Thank you, Anthony. I'd like to agree with Terry on what she said about Imperium 3. I mean, I'm sure all of us will agree that IBM, Endicott Johnson were wonderful companies in this area, and they certainly grew our community into what we have today. But both of these companies left us with contamination. So that since we have been claimed to be a Superfund site, I think we need to be super cautious as to what companies do come in here. We certainly don't need a repeat problem with this company, Imperium 3. I mean, they will be using several chemicals in their process. What is going to happen to the chemicals after they have been used? What are they going to do with them? We certainly, we know that IBM and Endicott Johnson just dumped the chemicals in the ground. So what is Imperium 3 going to do? There's federal laws in place now to protect communities from this problem. I would like to know, just what they are going to do so that it will protect our community and we won't end up damaged again. we certainly can't let that happen. And that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol.
Okay. Anyone else would like to speak at our hearing of visitors?
Christine Ellison?
Yeah, thank you. I just want to jump on in this too, and reiterate exactly what these guys said. This is not rocket science. We live in a heavy Superfund site here, guys. Adding extra safety measures should not be something that we need to even discuss. It should just be a given. This is common sense, and that's just what I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, since there's no one else who would wish to speak, I will close this hearing of visitors. Okay, now we come to board member comments. Eileen, do you have anything you want to say?
No.
Okay.
It's the last time I'm going to say something about the trees here, but as an insurance adjuster, I look at damaged trees, wind claims, and there were several events in July that found hundreds of trees, Appalachian, surrounding areas. There was a 92-mile-an-hour microburst in Appalachian, looked like a war zone. Looks like that these trees were tagged back in May. Taken down. Whatever. They were severe rot or hollowing of the tree, definitely they got to come down because an accident waiting to happen. But if they come down during a wind event, we have no liability for a an event, what do you call it? There's a term for that.
Act of God.
Act of God.
I should know about that, but sorry. So,
You should have.
that's my, yeah, I know. So that's my comment about trees. What? What do you do? I'm an insurance adjuster. Oh. Wind claims. Act of God. Number two, I heard some negative comments about burned dairy. I'm going to make my position perfectly clear that I'm 100% for it. There's worries about gasoline leaks, things like that. As an adjuster also, the tanks used to be made out of metal. There used to be like an electrical event that would happen in the ground where electricity would travel through the ground and eventually pit these tanks and cause gas leaks, and which was terrible. It happened to me near my house up in Johnson City. A tank rotted out. The whole neighborhood was evacuated. The tanks now are double lined, plastic lined to prevent that issue. So I am not at all fearful of a gasoline gas station in Endicott in that particular area. And I don't think it's the board's position, if it's done properly and it passes all the different departments, that we are to limit commerce in Endicott. Like we did in our 10-point plan, we're here to help Endicott open up business. And this is another one. That property's been sitting vacant for who knows how long. So let's bring it on. And I was going to say something, I better not say it. I'm done.
Okay, thank you. All right, Ted, do you have any comments?
Yeah, I had two things. This meeting and then the two meetings prior to this meeting, we had a police officer here in the audience that we've had to pay him. And in one case it was the assistant chief, in the other case it was the chief. Why are we doing that?
I asked them to stop by because things were getting a little bit testy, and I thought that would kind of make everybody calm down a little bit. To tell you the truth, our police chief and our assistant police chief are salary. We do not pay them by the hour. They come over here just as part of their work.
What about Brad tonight?
Brad, I didn't realize that Brad was coming tonight. Must be the police chief was busy. That I did not know.
I'm sure they have, even the police chief and the assistant probably have better things to do, even though they're on salary, better things to do for the village than sit through these meetings.
They probably do.
Or are you gonna continue having them come in?
I don't know. It depends on what the makeup of the board is. If things start to calm down, I see no reason to have them here. I just like to have things I like to be proactive.
Is there a safety issue during the board meeting?
I don't know. I think it's more of a decorum issue.
As a matter of fact, though, there was 3 meetings ago.
Yes, we did, and we had a problem, and that's why we were very glad we had it here. And I would like to discuss that with you after the board meeting privately. I will tell you, Ted.
Okay.
Okay, I'll tell you. But
2 people had knives.
Okay, I didn't know about that.
I didn't think we needed to say that in the boardroom, though.
The second thing I wanted to bring up, which I meant to bring up when we passed the new meeting rules, was that these meeting rules we've had 95% of it is the same rules we've had since the beginning of the year, but we passed them again tonight because there was a couple changes we put in there that we wanted to have in there. One is Linda had been saying that for the last couple months that people who are on Zoom were not going to be allowed to speak during the hearing of visitors.
I made the motion last
Excuse me, there's a rule of not interrupting. And so because of that, those conversations through emails with Linda, I wanted to put that in there, that people that are on Zoom will be allowed, by our meeting rules, will be allowed to speak during the hearing of visitors. There's a few little minor changes, but these are the 3 major ones. The second one was we wanted to make accommodation for anybody on the board who hires an attorney. And so we added some verbiage in there for, make accommodations for a seat and maybe even a small table if that was requested for that attorney to sit at the board. Rather than sitting at the actual board table, we would make accommodation for that. And then the third thing was that, and this is, these comments I'm making are for Janice, so when she does the minutes, to make sure they get in the minutes and then make sure the changes are made. But the last page of these meeting rules is a new agenda, not a new agenda, an official agenda that it has to be that way unless we vote to change it again. But on this new agenda, which is the final page of it's an addendum to these meeting rules. There is no longer, after tonight, there will be no longer an attorney hired by one of the board members listed up there as one of the officials of the village. The second thing is that, second major thing, so that the only people that are allowed on this agenda, as far as listed up there or anywhere on the agenda, is the mayor, the 4 trustees, the village manager, the attorney for the village. And I believe that is the main changes. Yeah, those were the 3 main changes on these meeting rules. So that's all I had.
Okay. And Nick, do you have anything?
Yeah, I just wanted to update everyone that we are still exploring the possibility of creating a noise ordinance. And I've had a couple of meetings kind of reminding me about that. Again, it's not an easy task. It's very hard to enforce. So we're still exploring it. It's something we want to do. We just have to make sure we can enforce it and actually follow through with it if we do it. We don't just want a law just to have a law. We want it to be enforceable. So a lot of challenges with that, but
what's that? What is that law about?
The noise ordinance.
Oh.
So anyway, we're still exploring the possibility.
And other towns have those, so maybe we can use some of their
We
version.
have one, but it's not very
Too good.
enforceable, like Nick just said.
Yeah, they refer to technology that 1950s technology that's pretty much defunct.
Yeah.
You can't.
Much of it has to be done in real time too.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
But it is certainly an issue here in Endicott, the noise.
Especially down in Cleveland, Forces Time.
And I guess that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. All right. Well, I just have some very good news.
Find the thing again.
I am delighted to announce that we're making real progress on our Washington Avenue revitalization. We had overwhelming support for the street designs, and we can now move ahead. We have two separate committees. The Mayor Advisory Committee has been established and meeting for a very long period of time, and we've done a lot of research and made many trips to the parking lots and alleys. And for the next phase of this project, we've talked to the fire and police regarding safety concerns. Since we have some ideas in place, it now makes sense to combine these committees to streamline the work already done and come up with ideas together. We need to work together on this to make it easier for everyone, because the board committee only allows people that have been invited, and the mayor committee can invite anybody they want to, which is not to put a label on this. We want to just combine the committee, don't put a label, we can call it Washington Avenue. Anthony can still run Zoom for the people who can't come in person, and we can send out invitations for both members. So I want to do what's best for the village residents. Our next meeting should be on August 24th at 10 o'clock in the village boardroom. And once we get all our ideas organized, Delta and themselves are going to put it all together in our presentation, and they're going to take it to the public. And then the public, so I don't want the public to think that we're ignoring them, because we're not. So that way, and we have planned on this. Anthony and I have been talking about it, and I do believe that Chris from Delta had mentioned it at the last meeting I was at, that he would like to do it by September. So if anyone is interested, August 24th, here in the boardroom, please.
I have to make a comment or question, clarification.
Mm-hmm.
So you're proposing the mayor committee and the board commission merge. Are you making a resolution to add them to the board commission, your members?
I'm just making an idea that I think it'd be nice if we played nice and worked together.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. It's my understanding that the board authorized commissions and then the mayor committees have two different functions. The mayor committee
They're both advisory, yeah.
is to advise the mayor on said issues, and the board commission is to advise the board. They sound similar, but they're really, I think they're quite different. So I guess my question is, are you making a resolution to add those members to the committee? I don't think we can just abolish.
I'm not abolishing anything. I'm just combining them. I'm not making any I'm not making any resolutions. I'm just telling anybody who wants to come here on the August 24th. And we're all going to play nice together, and we're going to bring some ideas that I need other people's opinions on, and I would greatly appreciate to have the board committee's input on it, because I think it'd be nice if we could work together. We've been doing so good so far. I mean, we've got the streetscapes done now. We have some ideas. I guess Chris has got them all drawn up. And now it's time to go to the parking lot. It's just that we have been meeting for so much longer, and my people have been out doing the actual work in the trenches, that I'd like to share that. And I think if we could all meet and talk together, I think that would just help everybody. That's all.
So I think what you're proposing, I mean, you can't combine the committees without a resolution of the board. The resolution of the board created the board advisory committee.
Okay. Can I invite them to my meeting?
Well, I think what you're asking for is a joint meeting between the two committees.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that would be nice. Yes, that would be perfect.
I think that would be cleaner. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't do that, but I think that would be cleaner than trying to somehow merge the two without a vote to approve that.
I think that's a good idea, Bob. That's what I would like to do. I just want everybody to get together and work together and just get things done, because we've got deadlines to hit, and everybody's very excited. And the more we talk, the more excited people get. And so I know everybody wants to see what we're doing, but we're trying to get some ideas get our ideas organized. And that's all we're doing is organizing our ideas, because the public will still have an input. They'll still say, well, I like this part of this idea, and I like that part of that idea, and put them together. And that's what we want. We want the public to all buy in on it, and I think that way we'll have a lot more help. I've got more volunteers than I've ever had, because people want to be a part of it. And I really want to get the businesses to buy in.
Do you have a list of the people on your mayor committee?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
How many are on there?
I'd say about 10.
Can you make a list for us right now?
I can get you a list, and I can mail it to you. I'm going to mail it to Anthony so that when he makes out
And you said your committee is open to the public?
Yes. In fact, that's how I met George. Yep. He had great ideas. I was very blessed.
If there was a joint meeting, would that mean you're going to invite the whole public to the joint meeting?
Anybody who wants to come, and let me tell you, at 10 o'clock in the morning, we'd be lucky. So I'm not worried about it.
That's not such a good idea, though.
I've been now since January, and I've been very blessed. Mario Salati joined me just for the heck of it. And like I said, I met George, and you wouldn't believe the ideas George came up with. And if I hadn't opened it to the public, if I hadn't opened it to the public, I still wouldn't know about hybrid grass, or your idea to take the water off the roofs and make irrigation for the plants.
What is this August 24 meeting?
Yeah, August 24th at 10 o'clock.
What is that?
It's a joint meeting. What do I say, joint meeting?
Well, I guess you're asking for a joint meeting. I mean, you can.
Joint meeting. I'm organizing a joint meeting, yes.
You can organize one for the mayoral advisory committee. I guess the board advisory committee needs to decide whether or not it wants to engage in this joint meeting or not.
All right, that's fine. You guys are all invited. And
They would, so this August 24 meeting is your committee?
Well, I didn't really want to put a label on it. I didn't want to say it was my committee. I'd like to say it's a joint committee. I'm not trying to take over. I'm just trying to invite everybody. So how would I say that? I don't really want to say it's mine. I mean, if I have to, I will.
My thought is your committee advises you, you're on the board advisory committee, you represent the people on your advisory committee. I'm not even on the Washington Ave committee, so I have nothing to do with it. I'm just trying to wrap my head around it.
Yeah.
I think it would be nice if both groups could get together and
share ideas. Oh, and Terry Farrell said she's been there too. She's been invited. Heather was invited. They've all showed up. Yeah.
All 5 of us show up.
I think. Well, it's an open meeting. I'm inviting the public, so can I do that?
This is
then it's a quorum. If a quorum of you are going to show up at a public at a meeting to talk about public issues, then it becomes a public meeting.
I won't
go. Put it in the newspaper then?
It would have to be properly posted.
If you guys want to come, I'll put it in the newspaper. I don't mind.
So, my only concern is, now correct me if I'm wrong, our committees normally, our board committees or any committee, are they public meetings? Are they open to the public traditionally?
Well, so if it's a true advisory committee, which the Washington Ave Board Advisory Committee is, it doesn't have any authority to make decisions, spend money, anything like that. Purely advisory. There's case law that says that those are not subject to the open meetings law. Okay? So that's how we've been handling the Board Advisory Committee meetings. If you're going to do something like what the mayor's talking about, I think that is probably more likely done as a public meeting. I think that's what she's asking for, is to have more of a public meeting, get public input at that point.
Now, not to put you on the spot, Anthony, but I believe you are the chairman of that Washington Ave.
Right.
Is it the board's intention to go public with the plans at some point?
That's what we're working with now. We have our 3 streetscape options. Delta's putting them into a format where we're going to go to the public. So that's where we're currently at this point. We have our options. They're preparing the documents and the website, because they're going to be able to vote and see everything on the website.
So they can vote on the website.
Vote on the website, yeah. But that's all in the works right now, with the hopes that we don't have another meeting plan, because this is what we're working on right now, is we want to get this out to the public, and then after the public has input, we plan on getting back together, to take that and to continue with the obviously the parking lots and the, gateways and all that stuff.
So would it make
Yeah.
more sense to have what the mayor's discussing after there's public input?
Well, the thing is, why can't we do the parking lots at the same time? Why are we doing just the streetscape? We should do the parking lots and the alleys at the same time.
I don't think we want to rush job though.
No, but we aren't rushing the job. We're almost done with it.
I think
Can I talk to you for 2 seconds outside? I want to ask you a question. Excuse us, just one moment.
Yeah, so I think, once that gets together and we put it out there, so the plan is to put it out for 3 weeks, at least 3 weeks to the public. Once that goes out, while we're waiting for input, we can meet again and talk, start moving forward with parking lots, gateways.
Wouldn't this defeat the plan and the plan of putting this out to the public if we're just going to open it up to the public right now before it's even ready?
Yeah, I mean, because we're not taking input yet on what we've done so far.
I mean, if she wants to combine the two committees for a meeting, that she said she would invite the public, open it to the public. So then here we are, we're not even prepared and done with it.
I think.
Yeah, I want to wait till she gets back, Mayor gets back, because this should be an open.
Is the 24th Friday, Saturday, Sunday, what?
The Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday at 10 a.m. where everybody's at work.
No, that's not, she wants the two groups to meet. And if anybody from the public wants to come, she's saying they can come, but it's not a type of formal presentation.
But this is, Alberta, this is
But there's a lot of interested people, though.
the committee that Anthony's chairman of is called a board advisory committee. It was voted in and approved by the board. It's not subject to the open meeting laws
Right. Well,
for a purpose, because if you get too many opinions, there's 16 people on it now. If you get too many opinions going at once, you're never anywhere.
Okay, I will make it public. I will make it a public meeting on the 24th. And if everybody here would like to come, I would more than welcome you. Because it has been my experience that very few people show up, especially at 10 o'clock.
What is it that you're making a public? Your committee is going to have a public
Do I want to
meeting?
call it would it be more sensible to call it my committee? I really hate to.
So, this isn't something you can do unilaterally, because you don't have control over the board advisory.
No, but I want to invite them.
Yeah, I think that's what, so I think you may be better off pitching it in a different way, rather than saying this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You could say, I have my mayoral advisory committee, we're working on the Washington Ave project, there's a board advisory committee. Do you think it would be a good idea to have a joint meeting to discuss the issues? Now, that may or may not be a good idea. I don't know. The people on the committee would know better than I, but I think that's the way to kind of pitch it if you want to make this happen. Anthony?
And maybe I could have it as a mayor advisory committee and then just invite the people on the board advisory committee. I mean,
Anybody can go. If you invite them, they can go.
Yeah, so how about if I do that? Would that make it easier?
yeah.
But if you want to label it, I think the committee would have to.
It should be labeled a mayor's advisory committee.
Okay, then I will label it. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do that to the board advisory committee, but if that's what you're suggesting I do, then I would be very glad to do that. All right, I'm having a mayor advisory committee.
What information are you going to provide at this meeting?
I'm going to show you some plans that we've got for the parking lot at the M&T lot. We've got a lot of information we would like to share.
It's done by a out-of-state, non-licensed New York State architect?
Why would I bother? This was done by my friends who are here in the audience. No, my out-of-state licensed, in the state of Texas architecture did me a favor, drew me a picture. He didn't draw me an architecture. He drew me a picture so that I could put trees on it. That's what he did. So that's what everybody's so worried about. I had somebody draw me a picture to be nice to me. So this, we don't really have a drawing unless we bring the projector and put up the pictures that we've got that we took of the avenue or the parking lots. And we might do that so people can see it. We found out that M&T Bank owns part of the lot, and we're working on getting an answer from them. But we've got to move the dumpsters, and I want to talk to both committees about moving dumpsters because it's a very big deal.
You're on both committees, so
I know.
You can do that.
Yes, but I would like to invite you guys to be with me. I would like everybody to have a say. And I just want everybody to be working together and play nice. So I'm going to have a mayor's advisory committee. Anybody who would like to come is more than welcome. How's that? How's that?
Whatever.
Very
But
good.
it still won't be the board advisory.
No, it won't be the board advisory committee, but they're welcome to come if they want. They can come.
Well, in other words, this is gonna be Linda Jackson, Mayor Advisory Committee, having an open meeting on.
Yes, very good.
We can't. Can the village pay to advertise for an open meeting for a mayor advisory committee? That kind of opens up a whole nother can.
Oh my gosh, you guys are
Really
really freaking.
Not trying to be a pain. I'm
Come on.
sorry.
Well, then I guess what we'll do is
My
anybody
goodness.
can come except the board members.
Don't bring your logistics, just come to the meeting, for
Sorry.
God's sake.
I didn't really want to pay for that anyway, so, everybody who's not a board member can come. How's that? But chances
You
are you're
really-
gonna be working, Eileen, so that means Ted can come.
Yeah.
Because she'll be working. So you can come and there'll still be only two of us here.
You realize what a confused mess you're making of this?
Actually, I think I'm doing a good job because I want to include.
Making a huge mess.
You're entitled to your opinion.
My
Yeah,
opinion,
you're entitled to your
which is
opinion.
my opinion.
Very good. You
Very
can do
good,
that.
thank you.
On the other hand, what do you say we go home?
I'm making
We have an
motion
executive
to
session,
adjourn.
short one.
Oh, let's go into an executive session for 2 seconds. Well, you know, we really.
Sorry, Eileen, it's village business.
We'll wait till the next meeting because there's been no decisions anyway, so we can wait.
But if you're gonna be interviewing and, I mean,
don't know.
all we need is 5 minutes to see what's going on.
Okay.
All right, I made a motion to adjourn,
So I'll,
No, you're gonna do the, oh, Eileen,
and then we'll go into executive
make a
session.
motion to go to executive session.
Yeah, no.
I thought we were,
Pat, don't do a second.
no,
You have to make a motion to go to
I
executive.
understand, I thought we were just gonna go home. Make a motion to go to executive session.
Executive session.
Executive session
regarding,
Employees.
potential appointment of a particular individual.
And I'll second it.
I tried.
Okay. We'll do a roll call. Trustee Connectney?
Sure.
Trustee Dorner? Trustee Warner?
Yes.
Trustee Burlingame?
yes.
On that note, I'm going out of town.
Everyone on Zoom, we're going
Rules
into
and
executive
regulations.
session. We will come back, into live session before we adjourn.
Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
Did you ever hear the board laugh that loud? Ever?
Okay. We're back.
No,
That probably timed out.
I don't think there's still a few people on. But, and now we're going to adjourn the meeting, unless anybody has anything else they'd like to add up from the board.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Hey, I'll second that.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Woo! Even the audience.
Bye.
We got a 7.
Recording.